Senior Hour, which is sponsored by Comfort Keepers in Home Care and Advanced Audiology. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host,
Dr. Jean Dorio.
On your hometown station, KHTS. This is a show for, about, and by seniors, giving information to enhance one's quality of life. And speaking of quality of life, we have Dr. Seth Cohen from City of Hope here this morning. And later in the hour, we will be speaking with Nola Aronson of Advanced Audiology. Welcome, sir.
Thank
Good
you.
to see you.
I really appreciate
and your
being
lovely
here.
companion
Yes.
here.
Yes, Mandy's with us as well. We're from City of Hope. It's a real pleasure and an honor. Thank you.
And what is our subject going to be this morning?
Well, you know, my practice, we were just saying, I'm a urologist. Urologists typically work in pelvic health and actually predominantly with men, but actually my specialty is female urology. So I actually end up seeing a lot of women, mostly postmenopausal women, who come in with various quality of life complaints like recurrent urinary tract infections and incontinence. And so I see a lot of women coming in that are experiencing a lot of infections and on antibiotics all the time, or perhaps leaking, and that they can't live their life the way they want to because they're just always wet with urine.
That must be very, very uncomfortable.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. But you know, when you see them come in to transitioning to a point where they're stable and they've seen improvement, it's quite satisfying from a provider perspective.
And you know, with our seniors especially, Seth, our seniors have tremendous problems as they get older with the many bodily functions. But this is truly one of the areas that leads to a lot of disarray in one's life. As we always talk about on this show, our seniors know where every bathroom is in Santa Clarita. And because we know that we have to anticipate what our needs are in terms of going shopping, going to a movie, going to a play, being involved in the community. The bathrooms are here, and here. I think people at their homes, when I do house calls, they got it on a map. They're ready to figure out how to take care of themselves and not, get so frustrated by the changes in their bodily function. I think one of them you mentioned is incontinence or having trouble holding their urine. Do you think that, Seth, that this is a physiologic problem with aging, or is it just changes that chemical imbalances that might be in the body that we can correct with medication? Where does this all go? Is it the body actually falling apart?
Sure. It's funny when someone comes in and tells me that they're just leaking urine all the time. We always have to parse that out a little bit because there's actually a number of different reasons people suffer incontinence. And kind of the two predominant ones, and their catch names are urgency incontinence and stress incontinence. And they're different a little bit in their causes. And so the stress incontinence, really I describe it as a leaky faucet. So you have a faucet with a bad washer, it's loose, and the faucet goes drip, drip, drip. There's just not that resistance to prevent that fluid from coming forward. And so your urethra is not dissimilar to a faucet, and it's got a little washer around it called a sphincter or muscle. And when that muscle over time weakens, and usually that's because of the trauma experienced during pregnancies throughout your life and the changes in the hormone status, all that causes that muscle to weaken, you just can't hold that urine back. And it's like a leaky faucet. And so when pressure comes from the upper body down towards the pelvis, it just pushes that urine out. So that's why women will say, every time I pick up my grandchild, or every time I pick up the groceries, or every time I stand up from my chair, I leak. And it's because that washer is just not working. Now, the other type of incontinence, urgency incontinence, which is a little different, goes back more to the bladder muscle itself. The bladder is really a beautiful organ. It's a muscle, and it's meant to do a couple of things. It's meant to store urine and empty urine. Now, like any muscle in the body, it can spasm. It can get a bit of a mind of its own, a Charlie horse, if you will. And as people age, there's something called overactive bladder. And overactive bladder is another way of saying, listen, the bladder has now have a mind of its own. It's not communicating well. It's spasming without your permission. And so the muscle of the bladder will actually contract without your permission. And sometimes when it contracts, you just can't hold that urine back, and it spits that urine out. And so there's different ways we work on these different processes to try to lessen that leakage.
It's interesting. the times that it happens to me is when I sneeze.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, and that's the stress incontinence. That's the most common type. What you're describing is a phenomenon that so many women have, and it's really a question of bother. I have many women I see. You know what? I leak when I sneeze, but honestly, it doesn't bother me all that much. So we don't have to do much about that. You know, it's a quality of life issue. You know.
Mm-hmm. But I see a lot of women. You know, I do my house calls, but I also know that. You know, I see a lot of Kleenex around and toilet paper around, and, you know, I know that they're disposing of these correctly, but, you know, they're having to wear it in their undergarments sometimes with extra pads, and for them, that is not fun. Plus, it can predispose them to urinary tract infections.
Exactly. You hit it right on the nose, Dr. Dorio. That it's almost a self-fulfilling prophecy, because you have women that are incontinent, and then they have recurrent urinary tract infections. And it's really the incontinence feeding that, because of the very reason you just said. They're wearing pads or tissues that are chronically wet and moist. And guess what? That's a breeding ground for bacteria. Okay? When I have family members bring in their elderly loved ones, grandmothers and aunts, and they're in nursing facilities where they're unfortunately really in wet undergarments or diapers throughout the day, it's just a huge setup for recurrent infections. And so often, I don't use their urine as a reason to treat them for infections. If I use their urine sample, it's always going to look infected. We really just have to treat them when they have symptoms, and it's amazing how everything's interrelated.
So most of this, though, is a part of the aging process and related to the sphincter. So I always have asked, and I put out there for years, what about a artificial sphincter? When are we going to get that, Seth, where we will actually be able to remote control a artificial sphincter, and when we want to go to the bathroom, we'll go just press a button on a remote control and it opens up the sphincter, lets it go.
No.
You've been talking to someone.
No, I made that up. No, I've been saying it for years on this show and over at the hospital, and of course, there's some craziness about it, but, technology allows us to do a lot of things. And we're putting stents in, we're repairing aneurysms a lot easier. We're doing robotics, which I'm sure you do as well.
Right.
And these are all the things that technology has brought us. And I'm of the thought that for our girls and our guys, they don't like these symptoms. They don't. There's symptoms, but also the inconvenience of the symptoms. And I'm of the thought that one day we will have an artificial sphincter controlled remotely, and you just have to hope that somebody doesn't get the code for the remotes and make us all urinate at one time.
That's right. Big brother. Well, guess what? There is something called an artificial urinary sphincter. It exists.
Get out.
Nope, it exists.
I have been talking to somebody.
I was like, did you invent this? And so, but I want to give you a little bit of a background on it, because, like everything else, it fulfills a bit of the promise, but not the whole promise.
Oh, my goodness.
And so this has been around for a number of years, but really has mostly been utilized in men. And it is an artificial urinary sphincter. It's it's kind of an ingenious device that uses a pressure regulating balloon, which is a little bag of water that sits in the lower pelvis. And there is a button that you press that it shifts the water between that little reservoir and a cuff that's placed around the urethra. And when you press the button, the cuff deflates and pushes the water back up into the balloon and vice versa, and then the cuff reinflates and constricts the urethra. And this is not dissimilar to what you're saying. The reason it's been so successful in men and not in women, because it is used very often in men, it's probably considered one of the gold standards for severe male stress incontinence, is that in women, the urethra is much shorter and much more atretic or thinner, I should say. Mm-hmm. And so in a woman, when they've tried to use the cuff, it actually erodes through the urethra. It just is not safe mostly in women, because the female urethra is just so delicate. The cuff will actually degrade the tissue and come through the tissue and cause infections and bleeding. And so really the artificial urinary sphincter has been quite successful in men, not so much in women.
Well, but we make a smaller cuff.
Well,
at some point, technology will allow
it. Will.
To
we
have
hope
a
it will.
Cuff.
But doesn't all of this automatic stuff take away the natural desire or urge to urinate? I mean, how can you control it?
So there's a couple ways to answer that question too. The first answer is no, it doesn't, because really it's just adding resistance. It goes back to that leaky faucet, bad washer. And so we're just trying to turn up the resistance on the urethra to prevent that drip, drip, drip. So if your bladder's a functioning muscle, you should still get those urge sensations to go, but you do have to press the button to empty to lessen the resistance so you can empty. The other way to think about this is you don't really need those signals. What I'll tell a lot of my patients that have neurogenic bladders or bladders that are somewhat dysfunctionalized, right, is don't wait for your bladder to send you a signal. It's not a reliable witness. It's not a good communicator. You go buy a watch. Set your watch. You go to the bathroom and void every 2 hours. And so you basically manage your bladder like a coach. And it's training your bladder to do what it needs to do and work with the quality of life you want.
And Barbara, I think one day we will have
We will be able to automatic car.
We will have
an automatic dishwasher.
We will have a meter that will be able to put into the bladder, and we'll be able to tell, just like on your car, whether as you're driving, the tank is slowly going down, and now you have to get gas. With this meter, though, it will be going the opposite direction, and when you get to a certain level, you go urinate.
I agree.
We'll let you
beta patient.
In my opinion, if you got to go, you go.
Yeah, well,
I mean,
but it just
my
becomes,
body is giving me the signal.
It drives you crazy, though, if you have to know where those bathrooms are.
As you get older, you know when those signals are coming,
and
when
they're
they
worse.
do.
Gotta go. Made commercials about it. They had that one where you're towing your bathroom behind you. I mean, the little Johnnies. I mean, these are all the things that that males and females, when they become seniors, say, I'm getting old and I don't like this.
Well, if you got to go, you got to go. If you don't go when you got to go, you wish you had gone when you had to go.
You got it. You don't need a meter.
No, I learned that when I was a little girl. And all of my friends, gotta go. Gotta go. If I don't go when I gotta go, wish I had to go when I had gone.
Yeah, but when you're a teenager, a young adult, and having your kids, blah, 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 you're fine with that. But to have that, when you're older and you're trying to concentrate on your grandkids or your television that you're watching or whatever it is, and then you got to go. I mean, it's not that easy to put things on pause. You can put your TV on pause or your DVR, but how about putting your bladder on pause?
Yeah. Or even more so, I see so many of women come in, and some men as well, that are really just, they're debilitated. And so when this is happening at night and they're trying to get up to go to the bathroom, it's a fall risk. And the problem is they have the sense to go and they're trying to get out of their bed, and either A, they make on themselves, they have an accident because they just can't do it, or B, their loved ones are so afraid they're going to fall and hit their head or fracture a hip or something else. And so there's other, presuming you're functional, go into the bathroom, go. But I tell you, some of these people, there's so many other comorbidities that are challenging. It's like, am I going to fall or just make on myself? I think I'm just going to make on myself. And so it's a balance.
So are there exercises, therefore, that one can do, that our seniors can do to maybe strengthen the pelvic floor, the Kegels we always talked about, but are there really and truly some ways to exercise some of this away?
Definitely. There certainly are. Now, like anything else in life with exercise, the more you put into it, the more you're going to get out of it. So I send patients to pelvic floor physical therapy as one of the first lines of treatment for incontinence, because I think it's very helpful if they're committed. You guys are lucky enough up here in this area to have Henry Mayo Newhall Physical Therapy, which have some fabulous pelvic floor physical therapists. We actually send patients from Lancaster and Palmdale to here because really these are the best ones in the area. And so they're a great team that can work on strengthening exercises for the pelvic floor. And a lot of this goes back to Kegel. I think we've all heard of Kegels, contracting the muscle of the urethra, but really there's so much more than that. And that's where a good pelvic floor physical therapist can really help you isolate the levator muscles, the muscles in your pelvic floor you didn't even know you had. These are muscles we just don't control. We don't volitionally or control them on our own. And so we don't really know they're there until someone teaches us that they're there to really exercise them and strengthen them. And so they can be very helpful, very helpful. Physical therapy is a fabulous adjunct. Once again, presuming you're doing the exercises at home. If you just go and think, hey, I'm going to do my physical therapy, I'm good, don't waste your time or money.
That's
right?
But somebody, people right now listening to this show are on their computer already. They're looking up pelvic floor physical therapy. They're doing that because they're so bothered by this. So, if you are, let us know if this has helped you or not, because it's not out there enough. But I think, Seth, you're bringing it to our listeners, and if they get something out of this program and change their quality of life for the better, hey, we've done something for them today.
For sure.
Well, that's true. But, I still say, if you got to go, you got to go. And it's interesting. My kids, my grandkids and great-grandkids, they all know when I say, oops, got to go. And they'll all say, Nanny, you go. Nanny, you go.
But the tough part is, though, honestly, when you got to go and you don't make it there.
Yeah.
You think about this, how disturbing that is. I know, I've been told that some of my patients carry around extra change of clothes so that, just in case they have an accident. They don't like that. And, it always used to be, when you get old, you could say anything you want, but, people also smell any way they want, and they don't like to smell like urine.
Right.
And so
No,
they
not
don't.
when you get old. It's when you get older.
True.
All right,
Okay,
young
I'll take
man,
with that.
Don't you forget that.
Older and older.
When you go older. Not old. Just older. And Mandy, you're sitting there very, very quiet. You must have a wealth of information in that little head of yours.
Well, it is a pretty big head, actually.
Oh, well.
Yeah,
Because you've accompanied so many doctors here to this program.
It's been great being with City of Hope for the past year. I am certainly not a physician, but I am in physician relations, helping do the marketing and working with the local offices to let them know what we have. And I really, truly enjoy coming to opportunities like this, listening to the doctors speak about their practice, even what kind of clinical trials they're involved in. And it's just, I've learned so much.
That's
That's
why I
great.
mentioned it. Your head must be absolutely full. And
There's
it's
room for
not
more.
It's not a big head. Yeah, you're right. It is. It's always room for more.
But we have City of Hope here, and I have had just great experiences with the doctors who have come to Henry Mayo Hospital and, changed the course of the lives of many of my patients positively. And, Seth, welcome to the community. I'm glad you are here.
Appreciate it.
You're bringing a wealth of information. And the last thing, I think we're going to, be finished with this segment. But, one of the last things I want to just talk about is robotics.
Sure.
And if you can just give us a lowdown on that, because that's technology.
Definitely. Yeah, we're fortunate at City Hope to have a lot of providers with that expertise, and certainly, Henry Mayo Newhall Hospital now has a really nice robot to utilize. And I think the thing to take away is what the robot does. It makes surgery less painful, more minimally invasive, reduces blood loss, and improves patients' outcomes. Patients can leave the hospital within 24 hours after many robotic surgeries. It gives providers excellent vision intraoperatively, gives them really fantastic dexterity with the robotic instrumentation. I think it makes all of us better surgeons. We're taking a tool and we're using that tool to make ourselves better to improve patient outcomes. The surgeries to some extent haven't dramatically changed, but really the way they're being done with the robot is we're improving the patient's tolerability. It's less of a scary surgery for a patient when you say we're going to make 5 little incisions, 2 to 3 centimeters each, versus a very large midline incision, as it should be. I mean, that's certainly less of a scary thought. And for me, I use the robotic instrumentation to do something called a sacrocolpopexy. That's a really fancy long word, but basically what it says is we use a piece of material mesh, which we could have a whole nother discussion about, to elevate the pelvic floor structures that are falling out, prolapse. And I have a lot of women whose lives have been changed with that operation for the better, and we've done it robotically, and it's gone well.
You're talking about the mesh.
Yes, that's exactly right. Yeah, that
For another program.
Another topic for another program. But for that particular surgery, that product's been around for a long time, and people do quite well with it.
Wow.
Great stuff.
Absolutely great stuff.
Tell ya.
Well, Doctor and Mandy, we're so glad that you came today.
Absolutely.
Thank you for having us.
We hope to see you again.
Well,
Is
we
that
appreciate
right?
it. Honor and
What
privilege.
is it? City of Hope,
Yeah, this is
Urologic Oncology and Robotic Surgery.
sure.
Boy, that's a mouthful.
This was my Christmas gift from the division.
Was
so
it?
Wear it with pride. Holiday gift.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
it's great to have you.
Well, great. It's great to be here, and I get Dr. Dorio's blog. I love reading your emails. Your blog is fantastic.
Oh, good.
Very
I'm glad
good.
you get those.
Yeah,
Thank
they're
you,
very
thank you.
interesting.
Doctor's Diary.
That's
right.
fantastic stuff. Yes.
Today.
And reading it in the, what was that, newspapers at the
It's
Gazette?
in the Gazette
Yeah.
now.
I read Friday's article this morning.
You're a little behind.
Yes, but that's all
That's
right.
okay. And
That's all right. At least I'm reading it. Well, thank you again for coming.
Thank you.
Our pleasure. Our
And
pleasure.
hopefully we'll see you soon. I know we'll see you,
Oh
Matt.
yeah, the first Wednesday.
Thank you again.
Sure.
I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Dorio, on your hometown station, KHTS.
Come join me, Arif Halby, for Total Financial Solutions Safer Money Hour. Every Tuesday at noon, we uncover ways to help you manage your money, get out of debt, and prepare for your retirement. That's every Tuesday at noon on Total Financial Solutions Safer Money Hour. Are you not sure if you can retire yet? Listen to us and learn about tips for savings, retirement strategies, and so much more. That's every Tuesday at noon on Total Financial Solutions Safer Money Hour on your hometown station, KHTS.
At Advanced Audiology, we know how important hearing is to you, your loved ones, your work success, your safety, and your ability to stay in the game. Most people won't admit hearing loss to themselves or others. We make it easy for you. Today's digital hearing aids come in a variety of styles, including invisible. All feature-rich, providing unparalleled hearing quality, wearing comfort, and automation that simplifies your life. Don't be fooled by our imitators. There's only one Advanced Audiology with the purple sign next to AAA on Valencia Boulevard.
Your building sign is essential in getting customers to your location. Feathers can help get your business noticed. They walk you through each phase of your building sign project, providing special attention to detail and quality. Feathers will give you a sign you can be proud of. Your building sign will draw customers in instead of having them drive by. Feathers on Soledad in Canyon Country, across from the Edwards Theater. Or go to feathersphoto.com. That's feathersphoto.com.
Remember when Mom would bake cookies and you'd sneak some raw cookie dough? Raw cookie dough is the best, and now you can get safe-to-eat raw cookie dough at Doughlicious Sweets and Treats at the Westfield Town Center Mall. Doughlicious Sweets and Treats raw cookie dough comes in several flavors like birthday cake, sugar cookie, unicorn, and everyone's favorite chocolate chip. Not into the raw stuff? No worries. You can also get freshly baked cookies or buy the dough to bake yourself. Doughlicious Sweets and Treats near JCPenney's in the mall.
Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64?
Welcome back to the Senior Hour. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Dorio, on your hometown station, KHTS. And our next guest is Nola Aronson of Advanced Audiology, one of our sponsors. Welcome, my love.
Hi.
It's good to see you again.
It's nice to see you too.
And you have my favorite color on.
Yes. It's my
Beautiful.
favorite color too, you know.
It's
Advanced Audiology is purple.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So,
Isn't Philadelphia Eagles purple too?
yes.
Yep, there you go. So you're a Philadelphia fan, I assume. Same color? You had to be.
Well,
just go ahead and say it.
I just went ahead and rooted for them, the
Oh,
underdogs.
The underdogs, there you go.
And you
Yeah.
have a guest with you. Would you like to introduce
Yes.
your guest?
So this is Dr. Alice Sun, and she is a new optometrist in the area, and we have kind of joined forces because she does vision and I do ears. So we forget sometimes the importance of how the eyes and the ears go together.
Absolutely. That's
So,
a
very
very
true.
good point.
Very
So
true.
I invited her to come on the show today.
Thank you,
and
Nola.
Tell us a little bit about her practice and
Sure.
where it's located and what kinds of things she does, because she does something that intrigued me, which was she does screenings in people's homes.
Oh, house
So
calls.
she does
we do
house
house calls.
calls, just like you, Dr. Dorio. So I thought it would be a good match.
That's unbelievable to have two doctors in the same room who make house calls.
Yep.
Right.
I don't know of any other doctors who do that. Maybe
Correct.
one or two more.
Yes.
When
and
I
we
was a
do
little
hearing
girl-
screenings too, so we do that.
I
in
mean,
the home?
you go to offices and do them, but you are capable of doing house calls, aren't
Yes.
you?
And we thought we
That's
would
another
team up and
thing.
do the eyes and the ears at the same time.
Simultaneous visit.
For
That
our
might be pretty
seniors.
good.
That's a great idea. Great idea.
We've talked about on this show, Nola, many a time about how important it is for our seniors to remain in their homes. And we have to find ways for our seniors not to move into nursing homes or assisted living or boarding cares, but to stay in their homes until they die. And that's what they all want. Everybody wants that, but we're not able to do that. But we have to be able to provide services in their home to be able to take care of them. And in the past, I do house calls, and sometimes I thought they might have a fracture, and I could now get x-ray to come out. There are ways of doing ultrasound, and they come out.
Wow, that's amazing.
So visual and hearing, we bring those to patients' homes. I mean, I'm not going to hear people saying that the seniors are too lazy and they don't want to go to the offices. I don't want to hear that, because we all know that mobility diminishes.
Right.
And we need to be able to bring a lot of the services now into that home.
And the other thing I think is very important when we bring healthcare to them is, for me, if I have grandparents or parents, I don't think I'm comfortable sending them on their own to a doctor's office. And if I'm working 9 to 5, the only days I'm available is at night or on weekends. A lot of times I might not be able to go to the doctor's office with them. But if we can bring the service to them on off hour, doesn't even have to be during the day. We can go there during dinner time, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock at night, when all the family members are there. Then we can give, the seniors a very good exam while their families, their daughters, their kids are there, and keep an eye on everything for them.
How do you do that, though, Alice? How do you bring the slit lamp or whatever it is into
we
into
have
a
portable
home?
everythings nowadays.
Do you?
Yep, we do. We have portable slit lamp that's really just handheld, this teeny tiny little thing, and we just hold it and we can examine the patient's eyes front and back. Instead of the regular phoropter, all the vision exams requires the glasses, is better one, better two.
Yes.
We have a portable one of those, or we can have a set of the lenses. All the lenses you can possibly think of comes in a little suitcase. We can actually make up a pair of glasses of their prescription. They put it on. They make sure that, watching TV is great. I'm sitting in my living room. That's the exact distance I like. And then I can put them on and say, okay, this is the exact distance of my computer, and make sure that it's the perfect prescription for them for what they need it for.
Wow, that's really adapting.
As soon as I met her,
That is amazing.
the first person that came to mind was you.
Wow.
And I said that I had to introduce the two of you.
Well, the philosophy, though, that we're all heading toward, at least here in Santa Clarita. I mean, I think everybody is on board, whether others around LA County or California or around the nation are thinking our way. And I think there are scattered, but here we need to focus on making this the best senior community that anyone can live in.
Absolutely.
By doing that, it takes the load off of the caregivers, the kids, and whoever might be trying to help out.
Right.
Makes a
Well,
huge
it's interesting.
difference.
When I was a little girl in England, I had whooping cough, and the doctor came out, Dr. Lobo. He was Indian,
Wow.
and he was wonderful. I loved that doctor.
Yeah.
He also came
You
out
still
when I had
remember
the
him,
measles.
his
Oh
name
yes,
and everything.
I do remember him. That's
great.
70 years ago plus.
Yeah. We're
But
not
it was
counting
wonderful.
anymore.
Yeah, doesn't really matter, does it?
When I first came to Santa Clarita about a little more than a year ago, I remember very clearly a gentleman called our office and said he's looking for an eye doctor who would do house calls for his mother-in-law, who's been suffering from MS for many years. And her world now is her living room. She watches TV and then she likes to read. He's called many offices asking for the service, and nobody was really offering. And when he found out that we offered, he was thrilled. So the very next day at about 7 o'clock, our doctor took everything, went to the house, saw her in her bed in the living room. We made her a pair of glasses that's good for watching TV as well as reading her books, which is
right.
what she does now, while her grandchild was behind her or next to her, while her children's are, next to her. And then in a week later, we delivered that pair of glasses right to her home again. She didn't have to go anywhere. They didn't have to worry about transporting her anywhere. And then none of the kids had to take time off their work to do that. So
I wish more doctors up here did that, made house calls.
yeah.
Oh,
I'd
absolutely.
say it would be a lot healthier
Absolutely.
community. It
Yeah.
really would, because if you go to a doctor's office, you have 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 other sick people in there also.
Right.
And you can get a combination of things that you can catch, which will make you much worse,
Yeah.
And I think it's wonderful.
And for
I was just-
glasses, it's almost have to be a 2-part visit. One would be the exam part, and then the other part would be you got to at least pick up your glasses to make sure that they're adjusted and they fit you well, and then you see well. And with the house calls, you don't have to come in at all. We just do both.
So our listeners are now taking notes. Their ears are up because of NOLA.
Hopefully they hear us. Yeah.
But, their questions are going to be, what does this cost? Does insurance cover it? Does private insurance cover it? But especially for our seniors, they're saying, I'm on an HMO. Are they going to, do I have to pay out of pocket for this? Or I'm on Medi-Cal. Do I have to pay out of pocket? I'm on Medicare.
Sure.
Do I have to pay out of pocket? I mean, are you guys, at least right now, have you been able to set up something with any of these organizations to allow
Absolutely.
reimbursement for our seniors?
We take all vision insurances, and we also take Medicare insurance. So the visit will be covered by your Medicare insurance, and if you do have a supplemental vision, then the vision will also help pay for part of your glasses. As of right now, the actual house call portion of it, it does an extra service fee for $100, but that includes the examination of doctors going there and set everything up for you, but that also includes the delivery fee of the glasses later on as well.
Because I get paid by all of them, but my Medicare pays for house calls, and they would rather have house calls. And 15 or 20 years ago, even Barbara knows that they didn't pay much at all. But they all know how I'm always trying to make sure that there's equality, and
Sure.
I kept writing Medicare, and now they do reimburse very well for house call physicians all over the United States. So we, as a part of this attempt to make sure and assure that our seniors are getting good care and staying in their homes, we have to have these services available. And this is perfect.
Absolutely.
It is
Absolutely.
absolutely perfect that we have this kind of service here for our senior patients in Santa Clarita.
Yeah, that's a good question. So, what about when all these patients are on HMOs? Do you have contracts with the HMOs?
Unfortunately, right now, our office do not take HMOs, but what we can do is you can always get reimbursed for outside providers, and that is based on your HMO insurances, so it depends.
And we have to work on the HMOs too, because it's, they always offer at the beginning of the year, they'll say, okay, it's transition, you make decision making,
Right.
but they'll always say, we'll give you podiatry care, we'll give you acupuncture, we'll give you this, and we'll give you that. But, this is clearly one of the things they need to be providing.
Right.
Well, what does HMO stand for?
Health Maintenance Organization.
And what about the PPO?
That's the type
preferred
of
provider.
preferred
sorry?
provider.
Preferred
but
provider.
but that's private insurance.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but HMO is like your Kaisers, your Facey, and those groups who, have certain stipulations in their contracts with you and everybody else and the doctors about the care that will be rendered. And I think that they do a good job in what they do, but it's up to the individual to decide, is this going to be contoured appropriately for me and how my lifestyle is and what I want from my health care. So those decisions are made by the individual as to what they're going to take.
Interesting. Because I didn't want to go on an HMO because I want to pick the doctor I
That
want.
you like, exactly. Not be
And not
restricted
have to
by
be
your insurance.
Yeah, that's
Correct.
it. And that's what I realized, when I had the opportunity. I went on Medicare, but then what else do I do? But I wanted the PPO.
Right.
So that I could go to who
That
I
was
wanted
smarter.
to go to.
Right. Now,
Yes.
speaking of Medicare, a lot of people do not know that they can get eye exams through their medical insurance. A lot of people do not get eye exam because they don't have the vision supplement part of it. But everybody have health insurance, and as long as you have a legitimate medical diagnosis, it could be anything from cataract or dry eyes or allergies, anything that is a legitimate medical diagnosis, you can come see us for your full eye exam, and we can send the bill to your medical insurance. Of course, they wouldn't pay for your glasses, but at least you get the health part of it taken care of.
And it's the same with hearing. Medicare pays for the hearing test as long as you have a prescription from your doctor. But we go one step further to make sure that people don't use that as an excuse, because we feel that hearing is so important to life and your overall wellness.
Sure, absolutely.
And there's so many diseases now attached, and since we're in February, heart disease is connected to hearing loss now. So they've discovered that a lot of the heart disease is coming from hearing loss.
Wow.
It's interesting. Well, I think all of these...
They're all interconnected.
Right, because
They
it's
are.
all wellness.
Our body
Yes,
is networked.
it is.
Yeah.
So we go
it's
one
the body.
Oh, sorry. So we go one step further, and we give free hearing screenings. Like last year, we had a target of 1,500 free hearing screenings for our community, and we beat that target.
Congratulations.
Terrific.
So this year we're going for 2,000.
Get out.
Whoa.
So we
Why not 2018?
That's a good one. We should do that. That's a good idea. 2018. All right. You're up for the challenge to get people to come and see us.
Watch us get to 2000. Those doggone 18 we didn't get.
But anyway, so we don't want there to be anything standing in the way of somebody at least knowing what they need to do about their communication to lead a better social life. So, so we provide that.
And it's interesting because people really don't like to admit that they cannot hear everything that they used to.
What?
Yeah, that's right. What did you say? I didn't understand you. And I'm thinking, wait a minute. I know, but you should be able to hear me when I'm going in here and you're in there if you have good hearing. But so many people don't connect, They don't think my hearing's fine.
Right.
You were just
Right.
walking away from me.
And correct me if I'm wrong, I think hearing loss is the same as vision loss, which is very gradual, it's little by little.
Right.
If all of a sudden you can't hear or all of a sudden you can't see, I'm sure people will right away go see a specialist.
Yes.
But same as vision, people thought they could see perfectly. They thought they could see the street sign. They thought they could hear everything on TV. Until you come in for the vision screening or the ear screening and realize, oh wow, I didn't know other people were seeing that or other people were seeing or hearing this, and I couldn't do that. So
And it's a part of the communication skills that we need to have in order to function. Some of us retire, but some of us continue in some aspect of life and even have part-time jobs. And in order to have those jobs, you have to be able to hear. You have to be able to see. And to hone those abilities, adapting to your losses makes a huge difference in allowing you to go forward. And for some people, it gives them a job.
Right.
It allows them to continue working, supplementing their income.
right.
That's right.
Right.
And, but for glasses, when people can't see, they don't mind wearing glasses. But for some reason, people are still back 30 years ago when they think about hearing aids or hearing devices. The first thing they go is, oh, no, I'm not wearing those because that means you're getting old. Well,
Older.
Older. If you don't hear, that's right. If you don't hear, guess what? You look older and you seem older because you don't answer correctly. And everybody else knows you have the hearing problem.
Right.
But, you don't. So you're not fooling anybody. And, the next thing we run into is cost, because hearing aids or devices are so much more than eyeglasses, but eyeglasses are something you get like once a year or, more often. Hearing aids can last up to 5 years or more. And, you know, when you're paying for a hearing aid, you're also paying for service. You're paying for continual service. When you get your eyeglasses, you get them adjusted, you can wear them, or your contacts or whatever, right? With hearing aids, it's not true. Things change over time. After like 3 months, you get used to a certain thing. You're not hearing as well. Now you need them adjusted. Or because they're in your ear, they break down because of wax and moisture and all that. And so that's what happens is you have to get that fixed. So it's a constant service, and people don't realize that. So that's all.
No, they don't realize that. And it's unfortunate. It really is. And but people out there, if you cannot hear, please go get your ears checked and help Nola reach her 2000.
And 18.
And 18?
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. I think we need to take a little break. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Dorio, on your hometown station, KHTS.
Lots of people can build websites, but there's one Santa Clarita company that specializes in designing websites for your business. Small Dog Creative. The Small Dog Creative team is made up of local designers who are hands-on. Their talented team of experts build premium websites and redefine branding. Small Dog Creative doesn't just build websites. They'll upgrade your business's online presence and turn your business into a powerful online brand. Small Dog Creative, Santa Clarita's most innovative web and design company. SmallDogCreative.com.
California Credit Union, the only credit union in Santa Clarita focused on our educational community. California Credit Union offers low rates on loans for personal and business services, along with financial services for teachers, students, staff, and families. Free checking and very low new and used auto loan rates.
California Credit Union, your personal credit union, located in the River Oak Shopping Center next to Target.
Visit us and open an account today. Insured by NCUA, an agency of the federal government.
At Advanced Audiology, we know how important hearing is to you, your loved ones, your work success, your safety, and your ability to stay in the game. Most people won't admit hearing loss to themselves or others. We make it easy for you. Today's digital hearing aids come in a variety of styles, including invisible. All feature-rich, providing unparalleled hearing quality, wearing comfort, and automation that simplifies your life. Don't be fooled by our imitators. There's only one Advanced Audiology with the purple sign, next to AAA on Valencia Boulevard.
Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64?
Welcome back to the Senior Hour. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Dorio, on your hometown station, KHTS. And our guests this morning are Nola Aronson of Advanced Audiology, and along with her is Dr. Alice Sun, who specializes in optometry. And welcome again to both of you. This is very interesting conversation, especially when hearing and seeing are so closely connected.
They are.
Yep. And it's a quality of life issue. There's no doubt about it. You know, we talk about many other things like mobility, because if you fall, you're done. So you have to have and sustain your mobility. But I tell you, your communication with the outside world is through eyes and hearing. If you don't have that, you're done.
That's right.
So you have to continue with that. And, you know, objectively, I tell you, our seniors do so much better when these are corrected and they can move forward. And, you know, the other part of this is that, you know, as we get older, things fail. And you have to readjust yourself and go in for exam, 5 years, and just make sure that your vision is okay, or 4 years, make sure that it's okay, your hearing is okay. Because it does, you know, for some reason just start to deteriorate. And those seniors who I've seen are 100 years old, they're doing fine because they've maintained and sustained that.
Right.
People are living so much longer now. People are so much more active now, and with the technology nowadays, you know, my grandparents are on Facebook all the time. They're looking at computers, you know, they're trying to send me text messages, which, you know, unheard of, you know, back in the days, which means that you're using your eyes differently than they used them before. And a lot of people don't realize that computer, like a desktop, is actually, you need a special power glasses for that specific arm's length distance than your regular reading glasses and then your regular driving glasses. So a lot of people are trying to look at their computer, which is at arm's length, with their distance or reading glasses, and end up having neck problem because they got to sit all the way back, or then sit all the way forward.
Fortunately, I have
progresses. Really
Yes.
nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Triple.
Yeah. So you got all covered.
Yes, yes.
So, I was also going to say, maybe Dr. Sun here could tell where her location is and how to get in touch with her.
You're on McBean Parkway.
Sure. Yep. Our office called Sunshine Optometry after my last name, and we are in Granary Square on McBean, right across the street from the Henry Mayo hospitals.
Oh,
And I was
Where's
on.
the purple located?
Well, the purple is located next to AAA on Valencia Boulevard in the Owen Patterson Century 21 Troop Building. And I was going to let everybody know that what we're planning on for this year is we're more about community education. And we would like to educate people about communication and hearing. And therefore, we were thinking that we would like to invite, like maybe 10 people at a time to our office and have breakfast and come in and learn something about hearing and communication. And we'd be interested, if any of you are listening to the radio station now, if you wouldn't mind going to our website, which is scvadvancedaudiology.com, and writing in there what subjects you would be interested in learning about. And then we'll invite you for breakfast and a free hearing screening. So everything would be free.
Okay, well, right off the bat, I would say glaucoma. I would say that aging visual changes. I would say something called accommodation that, I don't think you can do anything about. I would definitely like the, things about hearing and the fact that at times you can actually, through a hearing test, diagnose brain tumors. And so people don't know those things, and I think those qualities about the services you provide are there for our seniors to learn about.
Sure.
So that just add for whoever else is listening. If you got other ideas, get to the website and put them out there, because education is key. As we get older, as we're get into seniorhood, we have to be able to adapt our lives and make sure that we can figure out the direction we are going to go. And it's not easy. We had the urologist on earlier, and we talked about the symptoms of problems with our urologic system, and this affects us, and sometimes not only physically but in a psychological way. But if you sustain and maintain your vision and your hearing, you can make it through life, and it's a definite comfort zone that you can achieve by just having that knowledge. And it's what does Miles say? Knowledge is wealth, something
That's
like
right.
that. That's important to all of us here in Santa Clarita, and we're all more focused on that than we've ever been in the past. And I think this radio station and this radio show has made a difference for our seniors who, many Wednesday mornings have listened to us go through these problems and what they're facing, and grab people's hands and help guide them to a better life. And, for both of you who are doing this here, bringing it to the studio and assuring that that word is getting out there. Yeah, if they can't see the dial on the radio and dial us in, or they can't hear the show once they find that's a problem. But, we're bringing it to them, say, do something about it now. And if you can hear us right now, then do something.
And Nola, what is your telephone number?
So our phone number is 661-253-EARS. That's 661-253-3277.
Thank you for telling me the numbers.
So, I figured if somebody forgets what the numbers are, at least they'll remember that it's ears.
Yes.
So then they can look up the numbers.
And Alice, your phone number is 661-259-1662. That's eyes, right? 259 eyes? No, okay, that's 259-1662. And so you guys are pretty close to each other down the street.
Yeah. Right.
So you'll be working together and with the rest of us in this city to
Right.
make sure that our seniors have good quality of life.
Yes.
Right.
Congratulations.
It's so
Yes.
nice
Great.
that you make house calls.
Yeah.
It's just, I
That's
wish
great.
every doctor would consider at least 2 or 3 hours out of their treating days to go to the people's homes, because, you know, you get a feel for what's happening around them, their home
Right.
situation,
Yep.
and it really makes a big difference.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's my opinion.
And
for
that's
what
a
it's
great
worth.
opinion. It's worth everything, because this is what we should be doing. But you're bringing it out. You're all ready, and we're
Yeah.
very happy about
We
it.
have multiple doctors in our office, so our house call schedule is pretty flexible as well.
Nola,
That's
thanks for
really
being
good.
on the show again, for being our sponsor, of course. Alice, thank you for coming
Thank
and
you for
letting us
having
know
me.
about house calls. This is a tremendous asset to our community, and both of you combining together is going to make a huge difference. Appreciate your being here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We are sponsored by Advanced Audiology and Comfort Keepers In-Home Care. Listen to us next week on the Senior Hour. Now go and enhance your quality of life.